training your deadlift is extremely simple. That's why I wanted to add a new program to my free Berserk method series to teach y'all how to do that. Now today, we are greeted by our big jawline, Chad Guts, and the correct music choice of today is also the Guts theme. That's gonna play in the background for a little bit. The PDF of this program is gonna be linked in the description. I'm gonna flip up on the screen real quick how you actually edit it right here. And now we're gonna get to work in terms of explaining this. Now, in terms of the way it's designed, this is designed so that anyone of any experience level can run this program. The only input that it needs from you is a properly selected top set and then just hard work, because the rest of the program is just bodybuilding work that uses dynamic double progression. What that basically means is that you add reps and then you add weight after you reach a threshold on that rep count. It's called a lot of things: evolving rep ranges, the rep goal system. That type of bodybuilding training is the most effective in my opinion, just because unlike strength training that needs periodization, meaning you do things at a specific time and it has to kind of follow an order, with bodybuilding training, science has shown, and I know I'm not a big fan of all the overanalyzation in science, but science has shown that that isn't important in bodybuilding training, not when compared to strength training. So that's how the program is designed. Anyone can follow it from any experience level. Now with deadlifts specifically, Sam, my boy Sam Sheether, made a video explaining, a good deadlift workout for someone of his leverages. I'm gonna kind of speak in terms of both, and we'll go from there. Now, in terms of your strength work, you have your deadlift top set. Strength works best with singles, doubles, or triples. That's gonna be with a set with 1 to 3 reps in reserve. You ebb and flow between that. So with deadlift training, the principle that you wanna follow in general is that if you have a hard set one week, the next week you wanna have an easier set. Deadlifts are an exercise where you're more than likely gonna be using the most weight out of any variation that you can do. They're a variation, an exercise that needs to be respected with that in mind. So thou giveth, thou shalt taketh away, or whatever the saying goes like. So a hard workout, a hard deadlift workout, let's say 0 reps in reserve, is gonna take a lot more out of you than say a 3 reps in reserve workout. So that next workout is gonna need to be easier than that initial one for you to keep the progression going. Now, in terms of exercise selection, after the deadlifts, you do your back downs. The training program PDF will have all the back downs automatically calculated for you, but I do a minus 15% reduction. That'll typically let you get a couple sets with like between 2 and 3 reps more than you do on your top set. So if you did a single here, you'd be able to do between 3 and 4 reps if you subtract 15% for a couple sets. Now after that, on your first deadlift day, you have your RDLs. I like to use these to fill in extra volume that you're not getting here. It's my belief that with deadlift training, a lot of your training economy should just go to getting jacked. Now that's not gonna apply for example, a high level strength competitor that needs as much specific practice with the deadlift as possible. Yeah, for that top 1% guy that needs to be strong amongst other top 1% guys, this would look a little bit differently. But for the average strength enthusiast, you're just looking to get more jacked so you can then get stronger. So I like to fill in RDLs with that volume because they're not as fatiguing as deadlifts, and you can push them for higher reps and not beat your body up as much because the load is so much lower. After that, if y'all know anything about me, you know that I got some impressive abs. I got my impressive abs by working my abs hard and using weight. Now for deadlifts training specifically, big abs help you to brace harder. That's with or without a belt. So you add your ab work in there. The cool thing about the ab work here is that you don't have to do it separately. Sam and I are a big fan of supersetting things with ab work. So you do between 3 and 5 sets of ab work on your first deadlift day, and you superset it with this other stuff. What I wanted to accomplish here today is just to give more of a well-tolerated amount of volume and take a page out of Mike Mentor's book. Now, I'm not having y'all just do one set of most of this stuff, but we're more so focusing on hard work and good quality sets. Mike Mentzer used to say you can either train long or you can train hard. Now that's not 100% true in a vacuum, but that's the principle that I'm using here. So you're doing 2 sets of upper back work. Again, for all this in the PDF, we give examples. You're doing either and or hamstrings and adductors between 2 and 3 sets. Some sort of pure quad motion. So that's like leg extensions, hack squat, sissy squats, whatever you want to do right there. And then some sort of low back work. I have back extensions written here, but you can do good mornings. You can do, I've seen some guy on Instagram do like ghetto back extensions with his belt, anchoring his legs down. I don't know if I would advise that one, but definitely good mornings and back extensions. Now, this deadlift program is a 2 times per week, as the title suggests. So on your second deadlift day, and again, this is just best practices, what's most tolerated among the most amount of people, I like to use what I call a 1.5 times per week deadlift frequency. Now, obviously you can't have 1.5 days, like it's either today or tomorrow. But what I mean by that is, instead of you doing like, for example, instead of stiff-legged deadlifts, you do like pause deadlifts here. Instead of doing that, we're doing what I call a self-limiting variation of the deadlift here. Stiff leg deadlifts are the best deadlift accessory because they give you a really potent stimulus and because the load is so much lower than your conventional deadlift. For example, a good set of 6 for me on conventional deadlift, I think, was 505 pounds most recently. A good set of 6 on stiff leg deadlifts is like 100 pounds less than that. Now, in terms of the way that this is set up, it's the exact same setup as your deadlifts. The only difference is the amount of reps you're doing on that top set. So that's 3, 5, 8 reps. I like to keep those reps bigger so that it's different in terms of the stimulus that you get. So the stimulus that you get from a heavy set of 2 and a heavy set of 5 is different. Likewise, the stimulus that you get from a heavy set of 3 and then a heavy set of 8 is also much different. It's so that the 2 don't overlap with one another and that they complement one another. After that, you're doing the same back down stuff. The only difference is on this day, you are training your squat. This is where you could plug in whatever squat program that you're using right now. So you could be using the Zod protocol, something that I released recently. You could be using whatever it is that you're using right there. That's where you plug this in. This is where you put your heaviest, most primary, most preeminent squat at. The reason for that is that the squat is a good assistance movement for deadlift and vice versa to an extent. So we put that here. After this, instead of doing the RDLs for extra low back and posterior chain volume, I'm a really big fan of doing beltless, strict barbell rows. When I say beltless strict, I mean, if you've ever seen Dr. Mike Israetel do barbell rows, the way that he does them is the way that I want you to do them here. I don't want any cheat. I don't want any sway. I don't want you standing up and doing a standing power shrug. I want you to work the upper back musculature and your lower back, your glutes, your hamstrings, your core isometrically and get in nice quality reps. You're gonna do between 2 and 3 sets of that. Again, this is based off of a percentage of whatever you did for stiff leg deadlifts, just like the RDLs were to the conventional deadlift. After that, you following it up with the same accessory work. Abs, adductors, some sort of pure quad movement, and then hamstrings. As I said in the program, very simple to follow. Everything is laid out for you. I have examples of exercises to pick per category. I have a comprehensive list of frequently asked questions that I know some of y'all are gonna have. This doesn't take very much input at all. Anybody can do this. I do this myself. This is literally like a generic version of something that I do myself. I'm strong, I'm jacked. I want you guys to acquire those results for yourselves. Let me know if y'all have any questions. Y'all have a good one.